to see what God does, because I know He's got some big things up His sleeve.
I was very established in my career. I was not.
But women would craft together and they would play together,
that's
and
true.
it wasn't just a spiritual church. It wasn't another church meeting with those women.
Yeah.
And how Church Alive is in a place you want, really, that you're going to fit in if you don't want to be equipped.
Jesus died on the cross so that we could belong.
Welcome to the Church Alive podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our ladies ministry and our ladies retreat coming up here in a couple weeks. I'm Jessica.senty. I am the children's director at Church Alive, and I help with marketing, ladies ministry, and just kind of wherever I can step in.
I'm Misha Nichols, and I have been privileged to be one of the women's ministry leaders for several years now. And I also am on the worship team, and I work with our children on Sundays. Oh, and I have a home group in my house.
Yeah. I'm Susan Taylor. I do the women's group in my house and the home group. We also have a home group in our house, and I'm also on the worship team. And that's it, right?
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so we're going to be talking about our different ladies group, because Misha leads a ladies group at her house in Cave Springs, and then Susan leads one her house in Bella Vista, because our church is very spread out all over Northwest Arkansas, miles and miles and
Yep.
more miles. So what has been the most fulfilling aspect of your role as a women's ministry leader, or can you tell a particular story or testimony that stands out to you? And either one of you can go first.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. So since Church Alive has been established over here in the Bentonville area, I have been involved with women's ministry. And from the very start, I just want to read the verse of Scripture that the Lord gave me years ago, even before we were over here, about how He feels about women in His kingdom. It's Psalm 68:11. The Lord gives the command, the women who proclaim the good tidings are a great host. And so as I've pondered over that over the years, at one time I felt like the Lord just lifted some revelation to me and said, my women are the ones that I'm using to spread the gospel. And the women get together, and they're a great host or a great army. And so that was kind of like the vision of what the women's ministry started as. So we want to be a great army, and we want to publish or tell the good tidings, which is the gospel. And it's not just the gospel of salvation, it's the gospel of the kingdom. So it's been interesting how over the years that this is kind of evolved or taken place. And our church has been in different locations in Benton County over the last 10 years. And so it looks a little different every time that we change locations. But I've really loved getting to know the women. One of the things that particular about the women over the last, I guess, 4 or 5 years that has been communicated to me, and I think also to Susan, is that the women want a place to connect with each other, and a safe place to share, and a safe place to receive prayer and just be loved on. Yeah. They enjoy Bible study to a point, and but that is not the primary reason that they like together. They want to experience life together in a safe place, and that's what has meant the most to me and to the others that are in our groups. In particular, there was an instant that one of our ladies received healing for some foot pain and I guess an abnormality you would call it in our regular home group. And then about 6 weeks after that, I asked her to pray for me because I've had years of chronic pain in my left leg and hip caused from sciatica. And so this particular lady prayed for me. The other ladies agreed in prayer, and I was healed. I don't have that chronic pain anymore. I still have some twinges if I do something I'm not supposed to, but it wasn't. It was almost constant part of that. So that's what kind of things happen in our group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really awesome to see for Laura get healed because both of you had dealt with that pain for really
long time. Yeah,
really long time.
Yeah.
Susan, you've got a cool testimony from your.
I think one of the things that that I love the most is everybody getting together and just loving on each other. And when we have new people in, they just kind of love them in and love them into the Word. They spiritually encourage them, which has been amazing. So we've had several new ones where they've come in, and some of the older ones have come in and just befriended them and just loved on them and just kind of loved them spiritually into the kingdom. So that's probably the most amazing thing that comes from, having a bunch of women together and just, some of them are in the Word and well rooted in the Word, and then some of them are, new to that. So that's an exciting experience. So one of the things I love.
Yeah, it's been really great for me. I'm probably one of the young adults in our church.
Yeah.
But getting to have all the ladies who are older than me pour into me for the past 5 years has impacted me hugely. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for the women in our church, for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
That kind of brings us into the next question a little bit, what you were saying, Susan. Y'all's experience, what has been the best way for women to overcome feelings of isolation or lack of belonging in church settings? That's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah. I mean, I know what the pat answer is. The courage, and step into a group, or if a group of 10 or less still is daunting to you, can you step into a relationship with another woman and start there? But God never meant for us to do life isolated. He never meant for us to have that feeling of not belonging. I mean, goodness, Jesus died on the cross so that we could belong. And so there's provision. I think it's just a matter of can you overcome, and we can overcome. The Word says we can, and take that step of putting yourself with somebody else. I think it's a lot like discipleship. So,
Things going on in women's ministry today, not just ours, but I'm sure Misha's as well, is it's always easy to ask someone, how you doing, and getting involved in other people's lives, but we always stay reserved. So just creating a safe place where it's in that rawness and that realness that those friendships really connect. And if you're not being raw and real, then the other ones aren't they don't feel as safe, and they aren't as giving with themselves. So I see that that's really changing in our women's group today.
I think so, too.
letting some realness in and creating that safe space for everyone to kind of share and just be themselves.
So I would say that if you do feel isolated as a woman in any church, Church Alive or any church, and that you don't think you belong, then again, be brave enough to ask the first question of, "Hey, can we get together?" Or "What time is that group again?" And just do it. Apply yourself to the task of one-anothering one another. So, yeah.
Yeah, it goes along well with, I just recorded Chris and Tony, so I'll post that one before this one so people can go back and watch it.
Perfect.
But Tony was talking a lot about how we equip the body and how Church Alive is in a place you want, really, that you're going to fit in if you don't want to be equipped.
Well, that's true, because that's one of our 4 pillars that we have erected for us as a kingdom church, is to be equipped, because that's what Jesus did. That's what the original apostles did, and I think that's what he meant for us to continue to do. Not just the leaders, but we didn't start out as leaders.
No. We just said, yes, I'll open my home.
Yes.
And we're okay to hosting, and yes, we'll love people. Basically, that's
Yeah.
what I said. I said, I'm not equipped, but yes, I'll love people. So,
But as you stepped into it, and even as I have stepped a little deeper into it, once you say yes, then God he supernaturally helps you develop, and he equips you, whether you realize it or not.
taking that first step of faith, and
Yeah.
and letting God do what he does. Yeah.
I am going to ask this because we were talking about this a little bit before we hit record. You guys are kind of talking about, like back in the 90s, before I was alive. Kind of
When you were a twinkle in your mama's eye.
Right, and we're not going to tell you where we were in the 90s. Okay.
I was established in my career, I can say that. I wasn't very old, but I was established.
I was very established in my career in the 90s. We were talking about how that women's ministry has changed so much over the last decade, but I'm telling you, even the last 2 decades, because Susan and I have been in church for most of our lives. That's how we were raised, and it was a part of our life, even as kids, and then on into adulthood. And women's ministry back in the 70s, 80s, and then early 90s, because I walked those decades, they were the groups were very well attended. I mean, you're talking about a church, let's say an average church of 150 people. And I'm talking about individual people. So let's say that you had 75 family groups. So almost every woman in the this thing is sliding. Okay. Almost every woman in the church was involved in a group, and came, and that was really the heartbeat of the church. And then, as Susan was saying the same thing, as we got into the mid-90s, careers for women really were highlighted, not only by our culture, but by the church, and encouraged, and everything. And so that left precious little time. Because you had your career, and you had your kids, you had your home,
It
and
was less important for those friendships because you were so busy doing everything else and trying to function.
So we begin to see how that less women were involved, and then those that were, their abilities, it was limited. And I'm not saying that was a wrong thing. I mean, just or anything. I'm just saying that's what
That's
happened.
been the culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fast forward into this century, and it's gotten even less than, I believe, as far as attending. No less important. No less than needed. Just got to be a little more creative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that sometimes, the early 90s, 80s, I don't know about the 70s. I was a baby. But women would craft together and they would play together,
that's
and
true.
it wasn't just a spiritual church. It wasn't another church.
That's true.
And in the mid 90s, with the spiritual change in the church, then it all became biblical, and I think some of that has to do with we want to, girls just want to have fun. That's all I'm going to say. But they stopped playing together. They stopped doing arts and crafts, on Saturdays, and they stopped.
That's right.
With the picture books and all the scrapbooking and all of the little projects that they did together. We used to make wreaths, and we used to scrapbook, and we used to do all the other things. And I think that took less priority, and now it's just.
That's true.
Of course, devotionals and Bible studies weren't as acceptable, or I'm sorry, what am I looking for? They weren't as
there wasn't as many of
available.
them. Yeah, available.
As that, because we didn't have cell phones back then, so we weren't doing devotionals. We were just reading out of our Bible. We didn't have a whole lot of devotionals in my life anyway, until technology kind of caught up, and then they stopped playing together, and there's my little it's important, I think that's how women connect as well, when the focus isn't on them, and they've got something to focus on, and it's not as intense.
That's interesting. Yes.
So
I think it sounds great. In my lifetime, I just haven't even really seen it. I guess it's really is a lot of focus on Bible studies and devotionals. And
That's true.
book studies, and so I think
it's not as fun as it used to be.
To be honest, that's true. We don't have tea parties
everybody's trying
anymore.
to diet, and I'm over here trying to feed cake to everyone.
Oh.
But I know that's some stuff that we're trying to shift as a church is bringing back that fun and the relationship building times and doing the fun, silly things together.
Yeah.
Roller skating and
Someone went roller skating last month. Yeah, that was super fun. And I didn't fall.
we're gonna do it again. And put some skates on. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
You can come and laugh at us.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
I might fall this time. So I guess that's a good place to jump into. What are your hopes for our women's ministry moving forward?
I personally would hope that as we get settled in our new location and are able to do some things from a central location, that perhaps some of our other ladies that don't attend or don't attend very often will join us. And just listening to you, Susan, about what we did with ladies ministry, and even in the 70s and 80s when you were a baby.
Well, I remember the 80s.
Yeah, okay. But you're right. We did some fun things. We went to craft fairs together, and we had tea parties and stuff. And that sounds so insignificant, but you're right.
But
when
it's so less intimidating.
Yeah,
And so
it
people can
was.
just kind of be themselves and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
They're not
So,
in this role. And-
you know, that sparked something. I think I'd like to see us do more of that. When we first started Church Alive back 10 years ago, and we were a few more than we are now. One of the things that we women used to do is we would take little field trips, and that was always fun. So I think what I hope for the future is that we can go back to that, not be so serious, and be more childlike. I heard a sermon. I listened to it yesterday from a pastor that was talking about how that childlikeness can defeat the enemy, or it does defeat the enemy, because in childlikeness, your creativity is set free. And who of us doesn't want to be a little more creative? I mean, I would, but sometimes I just don't have enough fun, to be honest. And so I'd like to see more fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So when you asked that question, it reminded me when Jason and I first started this church, we started at Tony and Mish's home group. That was my favorite. I love church, but when we first started, that's my favorite.
Yes.
And now women's group has become my favorite.
Yeah.
So my hope for the women's group is that people also feel that. That's my favorite.
That's my
Come
favorite.
with me.
Yeah.
Bring a friend,
Yeah.
because that's their favorite time. So it's not something that we do or something that we instill in everyone else. I just want it to be that Holy Spirit feeling, just of, just being, that's my favorite place. And then, bringing friends along.
I love that.
That's my hope for this
I love
is
that.
for everybody
Yeah.
to have, just be my favorite. So
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and dive into talking about ladies retreat.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last year, do you guys have any favorite experiences? Last year was the first time we ever had a Church Alive ladies retreat, as far as I know.
It was.
ever.
It was historic. It was. Yeah. We never. And in fact, we had kind of talked about it. One of the other ladies in our church said something about that. She would like to see that happen. And a couple of years before, you just went ahead and started, which is what I really wanted her to do. But circumstances with them, with her family, it just didn't work out. But yeah, it was the very first time. Refresh and reflect, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It really was. I was surprised.
It
I'm
was
sorry, but I
fantastic.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. All the women did so good, and,
Yeah.
and the slideshows, and they were very meticulous in bringing their content, and it was rich and
Was.
enriching.
I think that what I was just one of the things I was impressed with was that we didn't bring in a special speaker. We didn't spend money on bringing somebody from Texas or whatever to come. Jessica just felt that the Lord was saying, use who you have, because we've got some pretty incredible women in our midst that have a lot to offer and say to our women, so those women, they did their topic so well.
Yeah.
Almost too well,
Yeah.
because they went
They were a
over.
little
We all
long.
did. We all did.
But
Yeah.
they had a lot of information.
Oh,
and
it was
fantastic.
It was good. Jessica did that thing on just health and wellness. That man, that could have been 2 or 3 sessions.
Yeah.
You could do another.
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised and delighted. I just didn't know that we had it in us. So
Yeah. I think one of my favorite times, and I don't know if I've shared this with you, but we had, several sessions, and then we would have that break in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, one day, me and a few others decided to go to the little place where all the games were.
yeah,
And we were going to go play cornhole.
yeah.
And Miss Shirley, we went and got the little boxes, and Miss Shirley said 21 feet. 21 feet. They need to be 21 feet apart, and I knew I was in trouble.
That's awesome.
I was like, I want you on my team. And we won. But she was very serious. She was very
She's a
tournament style, and I think that was probably my favorite. That was probably the best. We did play some cards, and that was really fun
we
too.
enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
playing the Bible is
Just
funny.
having that time together.
We laughed
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We cried some,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I made some deeper friendships with people.
Yeah.
And the place was perfect.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Front, was it front?
Frontier Cove, it looks
Frontier.
like, if anyone's been to Silver Dollar City, it looks like someone abandoned Silver Dollar City.
Yeah.
Like it's old movie,
Yeah.
Western movie set with all these
Yes,
saloons. And
But that's part of New Life Ranch that they've been operating. It's closer to Tulsa, by the way, than I thought.
Yep.
I think we could have
Yep.
thrown a rock and
Yeah.
hit it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
yeah, and it's nestled over there on, I don't know what lake that is, but there's
I
like
can't
this
say.
huge
Is it Grand
hill,
Lake?
maybe?
I don't know. Okay.
But that beautiful hill that they put all those
Yeah,
little
and the lake is beautiful.
swings, and the
Yeah.
lake, and they've got all kinds of fun stuff out there.
Well, that used to be Dry Gulch,
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
It used to be Dry Gulch.
which I went to when I was in the 90s. I'm trying to think. No, I think it was 80s. In the late 80s, I
Okay,
went as
okay.
as a camper.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went horseback riding. I don't think we're going to do that this year. I think what we learned from that is we wanted all of the ladies to get to spend more time together.
Yeah.
And even though you've got somebody in front of you and somebody behind you, but
That's all you
There's
see.
more of a
the communication is kind of
Yeah.
not
yeah.
conducive. Yeah.
So that brings us to the one this year.
Yes, made for glory.
Made for glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. What are you most excited about?
Wow. I'm looking forward to hearing from our ladies again. Susan's going to present.
I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
And just hearing about just the things that God is going to release through the speakers, and we're really hoping that we will get some ladies that have not been before, and so we would welcome anybody that would like be a part of that to let us know, and because the registration for it's 3 days, right? 2 nights, 3 days. It's very doable financially, and if you can't do all of that or any of that, we have scholarships available for our ladies, and we would love to see all ages. From let's see, we're accepting
We're doing 18 and over,
and over.
and 16 and over if they come with their mother or guardian.
okay, because it's important for the generations to share and be together. So. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a couple things actually.
Okay.
Just being away from the house and the like the routine
Yes.
of it all, and being away from work, and spending some special times with some special friends. Just having that friendship and not. And having some conversation that we don't get interrupted, and no interruptions, no interruptions with my devotionals and our walk with God and just friendships. But I'm excited to see what God does, because I know He's got some big things up His sleeve.
He does.
He does. I'm excited about just to see what He has to bring us. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because last year it felt like I had just watched what Holy Spirit put together.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
praying that
Yeah.
it feels like just
Yeah.
like that again. We
Yeah.
just follow what He's telling us to do. And
Watch God show up and do something
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
that about will wrap it up. You guys have any other last comments about ladies retreat or women's ministry?
Just go ahead and register fast as you can.
It's going to be such a fun time.
It really will be. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we're about
Yeah.
6 weeks out ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It'll go by fast.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jessica, for doing this.
Yeah.
today.
Thank y'all for
you.
joining me.
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Coming here. Thank y'all. Thanks for watching if you tuned in or for listening. And you can check out more at churchalivennwa.org.